Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening, welcome to the news broadcast of the most prestigious channel of Sri Lanka. My name is Siobhan Pereira.
And I'm Hishainani. Let's have a look at the headlines for tonight.
Staff-level agreement reached for the fourth tranche of $344 million from the IMF. Diyavadana Nilame informs the decision to conclude sacred veneration of the tooth relic on the 27th of this month. President reviews facilities of devotees in Kandy. A meet between US Trade Representative Ambassador and a Sri Lankan delegation. The President, in a telephone conversation with the Indian Prime Minister, strongly condemns the terrorist attack in Kashmir. Investigations Committee informs the IGP to name a police team to investigate misuse of powers by Deshabandhu. Russia ready to enter into an agreement with the US to end Ukraine war.
Welcome back. It's time for news in detail. Now, in local news, Sri Lanka has entered into a staff-level agreement with the International Monetary Fund for the review of the fourth tranche under the extended fund facility. Sri Lanka will have access to about $344 million once the IMF Executive Board confirms the review. Accordingly, under the IMF agreement, the total amount of aid to be given to this country will be around $1,722 million. In a communique issued by the IMF, states that the economy of this country is returning to normalcy while revenue mobilization, increase in the reserves and structural reforms also progressing as expected. The communique further mentions that the restructuring of debts has been completed to a large extent and the government is dedicated to the aims of these programs. The IMF points out that most of the structural benchmarks have been fulfilled by the end of the month of April.
And in the meantime, President Anurukumara Dissanayake yesterday conducted an inspection tour of Kandy city to inspect the Sri Dalada Vandanava and the related issues that may have emerged. The President, who mingled with the people during the veneration, had a friendly exchange of views with them. The President held an urgent meeting with relevant officials to address issues related to the provision of facilities and sanitation for devotees visiting the Sri Dalada Vandanava. Agriculture, Livestock, Land and Irrigation Minister K.D. Lalkantha Diyavadana Nilame of the Sri Dalada Maligava, Pradeep Nilanga Dayala Bandara, Acting Inspector General of Police Priyantha Veerasuriya, Army Commander Lieutenant General Lasantha Rodrigo, Governor of the Central Province Professor Sarath Abekon, Kandy District Secretary Indika Udavatta and others participated in this meeting. President Anurukumara Dissanayake visited the chief relates of the Malvathu and Askari chapters of the Siam Nikaya and received their blessings. The President first visited the Malvathu Mahaviharaya and held discussions with the Most Venerable Tibbatuave Sri Sumangala Nayaka Thera, chief relate of the Malvathu chapter regarding the Sri Dalada Vandanava and related matters. Thereafter, President Dissanayake proceeded to the Askari Mahaviharaya and engaged in a brief discussion with the Most Venerable Varkaguda Sri Jnanaratna Nayaka Thera, chief prelate of the Askari chapter. And on more stories, Sri Lankan delegation met with US Trade Representative Ambassador Jameson Greer recently at the US Trade Representative Office in Washington, D.C. Sri Lankan delegation, on the instructions of President Anurukumara Dissanayake, who is also the Minister of Finance, handed over the originals of communications addressed to US Trade Representative Ambassador Greer on behalf of the government of Sri Lanka. The delegation updated Ambassador Greer on the challenges that Sri Lanka has faced in the past and steps that are being taken by the government of Sri Lanka to overcome future challenges and move towards full economic recovery. Sri Lanka delegation highlighted the prompt and positive commitment of the government of Sri Lanka to work with the US government in reducing the trade deficit and lowering tariff and non-tariff barriers. Ambassador Greer was appreciative of the proposals that Sri Lanka has made in order to commence negotiations and expressed the hope that an agreement can be reached soon between two countries to ensure fair and equitable trade relations. Later on that day, Sri Lankan delegation met with USTR delegation appointed by Ambassador Greer, led by the Assistant United States Trade Representative in charge of South and Central Asia, Brendan Lynch, along with the Director in charge of South Asia, Emily Ashby, to discuss further and the offer made in writing by Sri Lanka to the US. The two sides agreed to continue the discussion with the objective of finalizing a bilateral trade agreement between the two countries. Both sides expressed the desire to finalize the agreement in the shortest possible time period. The Office of the U.S. Trade Representative is responsible for developing and coordinating U.S. international trade, commodity and direct investment policy and overseeing negotiations with other countries.
Sri Lanka and President Kumara Dissanayake says that Sri Lanka strongly condemns the terrorist attack in Kashmir. The President, in a telephonic conversation with the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, conveyed this message to him. 26 people died in the recent attack at Pahalgam area in Jammu and Kashmir in Kashmir territory, which belongs to India. President Kumara Dissanayake informed the Indian Prime Minister that he was shocked to learn of the attack. The President, stating that Sri Lanka always had a brotherly attachment with the people of India, expressed the deep condolences to the relatives of the victims on behalf of the government of Sri Lanka and its people. He wished speedy recovery for those who were wounded and asserted that Sri Lanka strongly condemns terrorism anywhere in the world.
Moving on to more stories here at home, the Acting Inspector General of Police has been informed to name and send a team of his post by the former IGP Deshabandhu Thennakoon by an investigation committee appointed in this respect. The committee appointed for the purpose of reviewing the misuse of powers of his post by the former Inspector General of Police met for the second day today at the Parliament complex. It has been informed in written by the committee to the acting IGP to name a team of police in order to assist the committee, and at the same time, the Attorney General has named additional Solicitor General Dilipa Piris and the Deputy Solicitor General Rajitha Pereira to assist the committee. A preliminary discussion was also held regarding the future conducting of committee meetings and the manner in which the concerned parties to be joined in the process. The committee is scheduled to meet again on the 28th April to take decisions regarding future actions. The magistrate of Mathura, Aruna Indrajit Buddhasasa, today ordered to release former IGP Deshabandhu Thennakoon and other respondents in a case pertaining to contempt of court. The magistrate, after considering the available facts, and stated that the case cannot be taken up in the court and the power to do so lies with the appeal court. The magistrate further stated that since the case has to be further conducted by the Attorney General's Department in that court.
And now in more local news, the Vatican is preparing for the funeral of His Holiness Pope Francis. The official stated that today is the last day the public will be able to pay their last respects to His Holiness's body.
Hundreds of thousands of people gathered today, the final day, to pay their respect to the body of His Holiness Pope Francis, who is enshrined in St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican. Pope Francis' coffin will be sealed during a liturgical rite held in St. Peter's Basilica today at 8 p.m. Cardinal Kevin Farrell Camerlengo of the Holy Roman Church will preside at the rite of sealing of the coffin of the late Pope Francis. The liturgical rite will be attended by several cardinals and Holy See officials. Today is the last day the public will be able to pay their last respect to His Holiness. Representing Sri Lanka Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism, Vijitha Herath left for Rome this morning to attend the funeral of His Holiness Pope Francis. The opportunity given to the Vatican office in Sri Lanka, religious parties and diplomatic to express their condolences on the passing of His Holiness Pope Francis ended at 12:30 p.m. today. Prime Minister Harini Amarasuriya, former President Ranil Wickremesinghe and opposition leader Sajith Premadasa also expressed their condolences.
Moving on, national organizer of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna parliamentarian Naval Rajapaksa says that it is the responsibility of the candidates of Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna to bring together all those who broke away from the party on various grounds. And he had made these remarks at a mass rally held at Rikilagaskanda in order to ensure the victory of the candidates contesting from SLPP during this year's local government elections. National organizer of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa said that the party believes they will be able to win all the seats in an extreme strong manner by visiting all the villages. The party is also taking efforts to align back with all those who left the party, and he added that the politicians should understand the various reasons for such breakaway actions, and some of them have justifiable reasons where some reasons are not justifiable. He hoped that the people will join hands to fulfill this.
National organizer of the Samagi Jana Balavege parliamentarian Tissa Attanayaka says that only the Samagi Jana Balavege can develop the village of this country. He expressed these views at a rally held in Kandy recently. National organizer of the Samagi Jana Balavege parliamentarian Tissa Attanayaka said that a campaign has been started to enlighten party activists and candidates on an electoral basis as political parties, and this process has been completed to a large extent, and it is being implemented right now under the leadership of the leader of the party, opposition leader Sajid Premadasa. The government has been provided with an unlimited two-thirds majority, which was not given to any government so far after the independence of this country. He added that the NPP is requesting the people to give them the power in the local government institution also to develop the country. Since local governing bodies control the power of the villagers, this request sounds absurd. The construction of drainage systems, roads will be taken care of by the village leaders, but what is required is to allocate necessary funds to those institutions to fulfill these requirements. He pointed out that the people have an excellent opportunity.
And we will be back with more stories right after this short break.
Creama Kottumi, hot and spicy Nava Vasarak Veva.
This Sunday, Ceylon Today brings you Francis, the People's Pope, a special magazine celebrating the inspiring life of Pope Francis. Discover the story of the humble man who changed the church. Available at nearest newspaper agent. Don't miss it. This Sunday, Ceylon Today brings you Francis, the People's Pope, a special magazine celebrating the inspiring life of Pope Francis. Discover the story of the humble man who changed the church. Available at nearest newspaper agent. Don't miss it.
Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Welcome back after the break, and on to more stories here at home. Devada Nilame of the Sri Dalada Maligava, Pradeep Nilangadala says that the decision to conclude sacred veneration of the tooth relic on the 27th of this month as per planned earlier.
He made these remarks at a media briefing held in the afternoon today.
Devada
of the Sri Dalada Maligava, Pradeep Nilangadala said that the devotees have the opportunity to venerate the sacred tooth relic daily than the numbers planned initially during the commencement of the sacred veneration of the tooth relic. The Kandy city and surrounding areas are packed with devotees due to the influx of them from outstations of the island. The President has personally visited Kandy and had meetings with the most venerable Mahanayaka Theras about the welfare of the people, and it has also been decided to conclude the exposition on the 27th of this month as per the schedule. Now the local government elections are around the corner. Here's an update on that. Postal voting in the local government elections was held for the second day today. According to the Elections Commission, postal voters will get an opportunity to cast their vote on the 28th and 29th of this month. Distribution of official ballot papers to each household has been commenced through every post office for the local government elections 2025. The Postal Department says the 27th of this month has been reserved as a special day in order to distribute official ballot papers island-wide. The department also requests that someone should stay at home on Sunday in order to obtain the official ballot papers. President of the Lanka Postal Service Association Jagat Mahinda requested the voters to remain at home on Sunday since postmen of the Postal Department will be visiting households on the 27th Sunday to distribute postal vote ballot papers. Arrangements have been made to avail ballot papers by visiting the concerned post offices in case voters were not present in their homes.
President Anura Kumara Dissanayake says that the central government and the local government institution system as well as to be liberated from theft, fraud and corruption. The president made this observation at a public rally held in Anuradhapura city today.
The public rally was organized to consolidate the victory of the National People's Power in the forthcoming local government election. A large gathering was present at the rally titled and organized under Gama Apatai Jaya Niyatai. President Anura Kumara Dissanayake said that a government which is not engaging in frauds and corruption has been formulated for the first time in Sri Lanka. The power of the provincial councils is important since it represents the lives of the villagers. Both the government and the municipal councils are not engaged in cheating. Whatever the complaints be, the government will not permit for thefts and funds will not be allowed to be misused. The government stressed that since a genuine team has to be appointed for the local government institutions, a government which is in conformity with provincial councils and municipal councils has to be formulated, and that will be the government to be formulated on the 6th of May by making the MPP victorious.
And in the meantime, Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya says that the government has formulated plans necessary to march the country forward on a different path and is also creating a new political culture sans frauds and corruption. She emphasized that participating in this change is the earnest responsibility of the people at the moment. The Prime Minister made this observation at a public rally held in Kandy district. Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya said that a large sum has been allocated in the budget of 2025 for the development of villages. A leadership capable of implementing the plans is now required. Previously, the leadership was provided by the Parliament. When the funds of the Treasury reached Urudumbura, 70% of it was already spent illegally and only a quarter of the allotted funds reached the place. The citizens of the country should also represent and appear for this change. The government mediates in the process of the veneration of the sacred tooth relic, and the people should be conscious of others as well while venerating. Since the government and the security forces cannot fulfill everything, the people will also have to fulfill their responsibility as well.
Commissioner General of Agrarian Development General U.B. Rohana Rajapaksa says that the provision of fertilizer subsidy for the Yalla season has already been commenced. According to him, an amount of 480 million rupees will be credited to the accounts of the farmers by next Monday. This subsidy will be provided to farmers of 25,000 rupees each per hectare for a maximum of 2 hectares. It is also expected to provide a subsidy of 15,000 rupees per hectare during this Yalla season in case farmers are cultivating additional crops in their paddy fields. Subsidy will be given for 2 hectares of land. Commissioner General of Agrarian Development General U.B. Rohana Rajapaksa said that the fertilizer subsidy has been released to the farmers on the 17th of April. By now, an amount of 289 million rupees has been credited to their bank accounts, whereas another 190 million will be provided today.
And let's take a look at few more local news items in brief. A suspect who was staying abroad has been taken into custody at the Kashmir airport in connection with the triple assassination by the officials of the Criminal Investigation Department. The person, also a suspect in the triple assassination, which took place on the 18th of February at midday, has been extradited from Chennai, India today. The suspect has been handed over to midday police for further investigations. The Colombo Magistrates Court today permitted to detain and interrogate until the 30th of this month a suspect taken into custody in connection with the assassination of Dan Prasad, a candidate in the local government elections. The police made a request from the court to detain and interrogate him since investigations are being conducted in a case of possessing ice narcotic by the suspect. A bus travelling from Gamunapura area, Mahayangana, to Mahayangana town has met with an accident after skidding off the road, and 23 people who were injured have been admitted to the Mahayangana hospital. A scene of an elephant entering a shop at Valavaya and trying to consume food there has been recorded in security cameras.
And we're going to a short break. When we come back, foreign news on the other side. Stay tuned.
Creama Kottumi, hot and spicy Nava Vasarak Veva.
Welcome back after the break and on to news overseas. Top Lashkar-e-Taiba commander Atif Lali was killed in an encounter with security forces in Jammu and Kashmir, Bandipora. The action is part of a wider security operation targeting Lashkar-e-Taiba operatives suspected to be linked to the attack. Acting on specific intelligence, the Indian Army and J&K Police launched a joint operation in Bandipora today morning. Top Lashkar-e-Taiba commander Altaf Lali was killed in the initial phase of the encounter, and meanwhile, Indian security forces have taken steps to demolish the houses of two terrorist suspects, Adil Hussain and Asif Sheikh, of being involved in the attack that killed 26 tourists in the Pahalgam area of Jammu and Kashmir. Welcome back and on to sports for tonight. Sri Lanka A team has been successful in winning the one-day triangular cricket tournament, unbeaten, held in the United Arab Emirates among the teams of Sri Lanka, Afghanistan and Ireland. Today, with a victory in the finals played against Ireland by winning the match.
Meanwhile, the Sri Lankan women's players were able to record an excellent victory in the tournament held with Iran in order to select players for the Asian baseball tournament. This has been the first ever victory by a Sri Lankan women's baseball team in an international match. The tournament is being held in Thailand with the participation of 8 countries. Sri Lankan contestants in the preliminary round from Group A, which includes India, Pakistan and Iran as other teams. Sri Lanka won the match against Iran yesterday with a score of 13-0. The match played between Indonesia and Sri Lanka in the women's division of the Asia Hockey Tournament ended in a draw. The tournament is being played in Jakarta, Indonesia, and at the end of the first half, Indonesia was leading 2-1 and the match ended 2-all. The Under-19 one-day cricket tournament consisting of 6 matches between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh will commence tomorrow. The winners' trophy was displayed yesterday. The winners' trophy was displayed yesterday with the participation of the 2 captains. The first match will be played at the CCC grounds in Colombo tomorrow.
Meanwhile, in other Sri Lankan sports news, Sri Lanka super driver Dilantha Malagamu was able to secure the 3rd place in the GT4 motor racing competition held at Nogaro Racing Track in France. This has been the first occasion where Malagamu participated in an international driving competition held in France, and in this race he participated with Thomas Leal of Portugal.
And that was a look at your news here at Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. I am Siobhan Pereira together with Hesha Inali. Wish you a pleasant evening and a great weekend ahead. Take care.